In this video, we're going to quickly discuss what we know about Jing Liu's abilities, and then we're going to talk about what kind of teams we could possibly see in the future, as well as what kind of teams she could probably be placed in now. So what does Jing Liu do? And just to keep in mind, this analysis is based on what Huyo has shown us thus far and not any leaks. Her kit revolves around stacks of Syzygy. Once she has them built up, she enters a special state. In this Mara-induced BPD state, she does more damage and goes sicko mode. It looks like the goal will be to keep her as deep in this state as the Illuminati. Past that, she's your typical sword and board blast, big damage, do attack the enemy. So what kind of teams will we be seeing? Mono Ice teams seem very interesting. In these teams, we'll definitely want to include Pela, especially with certain relics that we'll talk about later. I also quite like Gepard with her because in a scenario where you never lose the shield buff, or only need to shield large hits, it doesn't really matter how much she drains your team's HP, as you'll likely clear the content by the time it would start to matter. So the best defense is good offense, effectively. This is the same kind of usage as Fu Zhuan, and well, we can see what kind of soul-sustained monster she is. In a weird way, Gepard Jingliu kind of functions similarly to her as a pseudo Fu Zhuan, but it's, still worse, but, it's just a little simpler. The one issue I have with mono ice teams are when you face ice res opponents like Ikolia or just ice fragmentum bosses, they're extremely frustrating. For example, on my alternate account, I pulled both the Gepard and Yang King, which is just the less cool Jing Liu. And it's absolutely fantastic against ice weak opponents and people that can be frozen. They never get a turn and they get dumpstered, frankly. But the problem is with any form of res, I pretty much have to instantly forfeit the fight because it's impossible to beat them, especially at my low level and with weak units. It's incredibly unfun and kind of unplayable. For more invested accounts and with Jing Liu, this is less likely to be a problem due to the greater numbers she puts out, but definitely needs to be kept in mind because sometimes your team will just not function, or it'll function at like 50 to 75% effectiveness. And if you're already cutting it close on MOC runs, just keep that in mind. Of course, next we have our standard hypercarry Jing Liu teams with our standard buffers and supports and solo sustain units. You know the names. Healers will seem to play a large role in this endeavor, as she is consuming your team's HP a little at a time, but the more she's going and the faster, the more damage she's effectively going to do to each side of the battlefield. It is likely that we'll see a new healer in the future that isn't as focused on ST heals on skill, and it will likely be much easier to keep everyone topped off, and you'll be much more comfortable, and it'll be less SP expensive than having to single target heal each unit. It will likely pair well with Jing Liu, so Jing Liu's value has, like mini units, yet to be fully realized. Finally, the team comps I'm most looking forward to is the 3 to 4 destruction type of team. I don't think this team is necessarily ready yet, but I think Lynx will slot into it very, very well. Blade as a partner is already working with the incredibly hungry Daniel as a potential teammate. So what is to say, a slightly less PSP hungry will also go excellently well with her. Her HP drain may, and we have no way of knowing this without looking at leaks, trigger Blade's stacking attack. And if so, I see this as an excellent synergy between them. And if there are any future characters that are released that have a similar ability, there will be excellent synergy there as well, assuming all works as it pretty much should, because it reads like it should. I'm mostly looking forward to this team due to their auto-battling capabilities and likely outstanding strength and durability. That's huge. It may not put out the most damage, but it's just not going to die, and it's going to clear everything in time, and that's pretty hype. So how will auto battle be for these teams? For Mono Ice, I see this as being a huge issue and pretty much a waste of time to auto battle unless you just severely or just generally overpower the enemy. This is more of an Ice Meme Dream team, and it's going to be much more fun to use and operate in just a manual setting. For the Hypercarry team, I see as being nothing special, very typical Hypercarry style, with not many changes from what we typically see. But it's definitely going to be better than something like Seal, because we'll be taking advantage of blast attacks, and the AI likes to target things that will hit 3 units during your blast attack. So they're not going to be targeting the 1 HP small minion off in the corner of the battlefield that has 1 HP with her strongest attack. Yeah, I'm looking at you, Seal. You've made me mad for the last time, buddy. Okay. So at the very least, if they choose the wrong target, we're going to get a little splash out there. So Thank goodness. Some damage on the main target. And last but not least, I certainly think that this destruction team will be pretty freaking awesome. The Blade and Jingliu will be effectively SP neutral. The support will likely be SP positive, and whatever kind of buffer that is flexible third there, kind of thinking Asta for now, will pretty much be able to operate freely, also as like a SP neutral or positive character. And I think this team will be able to shred most, if not all, content, also being really effective on auto battle mode. There can be some tight moments when everyone is trying to enter their empowered state, but past that it seems like an absolute breeze, and I look forward to seeing content around Blade and Jingliu paired up as a dynamic duo, which is pretty awkward considering the lore around them, but you know, who cares, bro? Get the team to the damage. The team I am most looking forward to seeing is, of course, as I previously just mentioned, that Blade and Jingliu's team, without a doubt, and here's a couple reasons why. As previously mentioned, I think the auto battling will be fantastic. But how will auto battle AI help us? Great question. Let's quickly talk about two different mechanics that auto battle AI uses when they make decisions, and then we'll identify how they help us. So, one, healing ultimates are used immediately when any ally reaches 50% current HP, and two, healing skills favor characters with a lower current HP percentage and avoid characters with more than 80% current HP. With these two auto battle rules in mind, Blade will likely be triggering this all the time, causing your support to go crazy. Lynx, for instance, will likely be hitting him with the taunt plus and healing. And then, with the fluctuating HP pool, the healer will be consistently ulting to cleanse/heal the HP drain caused by Jingliu, where Jingliu is feeding back into Blade's attack. Ah! Dude, that's a wonderfully cyclical team. It's everything's feeding back into each other. So how will we be building Jingliu? Well, the first recommendation is Four-Piece Hunter of Glacial Forest. For obvious reasons, she's ice, and it does the ice. But the more interesting set we'll be talking about is actually the Quantum set, because that shit is kind of broken, and it always has been, and likely will be for a while, because defensive reduction is cracked. She has a 4-piece set of Quantum, and the opponent has Quantum weakness. The sets form within 3% of each other, which is already kind of crazy. And then if you want to put something like Defense Down from Silverwolf or Palo, which Silverwolf can also give the Quantum Weak implant, we'll start noticing that the Quantum set is actually going to end up dealing more damage than the Glacial Forest. So if you're pre-farming and you have a mono-quantum team that you're kind of farming for as well, you know, with Seal returning and likely Silverwolf soon, what I'm trying to say here is you could probably effectively farm more than just the Glacial set for one character by farming the Quantum set. So that seems pretty hype. That's what I'm doing, because that's real hype. And also, I'm probably not gonna even get this character, but you know, it's still pretty hype. And yeah, that's it for this video. If you want analysis for Topaz in a similar vein, I'll be making one as soon as possible. So make sure to hit that little subscribe-ly doodly-doo and to be notified ASAP. Once we get some more official information, I will possibly make a video talking about the numbers Jingliu is putting up and such. So definitely let me know if you want something like that, because I may not make that without, you know, a little bit of encouragement. If you thought the video was good or helpful, please leave a like. And if you don't like it, you know, leave a dislike and maybe some constructive or criticism and feedback, you know. I can handle it. Yeah, and I'm just constantly working on making these videos better and better, so whatever you guys have will be helpful. So yeah, thanks